Hello, friends of Indiecade. Chris DeLeon here, your alumni program lead. And joining me today in beautiful 360-degree behind the scenes. Hello. Hey there. We're doing multiple computer setup today to demonstrate how it's going to work for these networking Zooms. Now, the networks are important to me because as a longtime part of Indiecade's community, I was a volunteer in 2007, had a finalist in the speaker back in 2010, helped with speaker organizing for several years. These days, I'm our alumni lead. Almost without exception, one of my favorite things about the festival has been, in addition to the incredible games being displayed and the really valuable sessions being put on, has just been meeting other attendees. People in the hallways between sessions, sitting down at a bench or a picnic table or otherwise, and just sparking a conversation about what they've seen, what they're going to, what they're up to, sharing notes about different school programs we're in, trading things about the experiences, the platforms, the engines that we're using. And so we want to make sure those kind of connections are still happening. And I'm helping to organize that stuff this year. Now, this takes two different forms. One is in themed sessions where for 2 or 3 hour blocks each day, and we spread these out to try to make it work better for people who have different life schedules and or different time zones. Think of like a room, is literally how we did it last year, with a sign out front that says, come in here to talk about mobile game development or virtual reality or biz dev or marketing or so many things. It just says, come in here for this hour and talk about that. And in these sessions, I want to stress this is not like a panel. It's not a speaker session. It's not about that person broadcasting their knowledge on this to you. Now, they probably come with some relevant experience or, if nothing else, questions about it. But it's really more of a potluck format where everybody in the room is contributing their experiences, their questions, bringing those conversations to try to help foster those connections, both to have the kind of conversations you want to have, to take the luck out of, I hope at these networking sessions I get a chance to talk about whatever it is. We want to increase the chance you can find people who share your want to have that conversation, and hopefully to foster some connections that might continue into the years ahead, possible collaborators and so on related to the thing you care to talk about. Additionally, like I mentioned, part of the value in networking too isn't just around structured topics. Sometimes I didn't know who I needed to know until I knew them. We would be getting food from the taco trucks and then sitting down on the curb and realize, oh my gosh, we both at the time were grad students, and we could discuss that. So part of what we're also setting up is what I'm thinking of as kind of hallways or in-between spaces, which similarly we run in Zoom, less topic structured. We might still subdivide the spaces. I'm going to show you here in a second how we're going to use breakout rooms in an unusual way to accommodate that. But those will be going for more hours of the day, not anywhere near 24/7, but more hours of the day. So between sessions, you can find out about those. We'll also probably broadcast during those, just as we would maybe if you were, again, in the hallways of a physical conference space. Hey, such and such topics coming up in an hour, or if anyone's interested, this is starting now. And you can think of it again physically, like when we would say down the hall or in this other room, except instead we're going to be like, check out what's happening on the Twitch channel, or see you over on the Discord for the following conversation if you're interested in that, or keep hanging out over here while you eat lunch together or whatever. Anybody who has a premium pass will have access to these. Anybody who is a submitted speaker, game developer, etc., who's showcasing as part of Indiecade. In addition to, we also have some alumni we brought into the network to try to help increase for both sides the conversations that we're having, the generations that we're spanning in those conversations and discussions. The way we're using breakout rooms is a little bit new and novel, so that's part of why I'm creating this video to explain, because I know some of you now have been living on Zoom for half of a year, so you're very aware of what a breakout room is. In case you're not, or you want to see a new feature, I want to show you how this works. So I'm going to set up a breakout room here, and it'd be like tables you're sitting at, where you can only see and hear the people who are at your table. And of course, we do this because once a conversation gets to be more than about a dozen people, it loses that dynamic everyone to everyone feel and starts to feel more like it's a classroom structure where the teacher has to be like, okay, now your turn to speak. And now, okay, next you had your hand up. We want to try to keep that more of like I say, discussion at a table feel. So if the group during a hallway session or during an hour breakout expands past, again, 9, 10, 12-ish people, we will then assign breakout rooms, but we're going to give you the option to choose your room. So you'll have the ability to switch between them in the same kind of way as, again, if you're sitting outside eating some tacos from the truck, and you realize, hey, I want to mingle, I'm going to talk to some other people over there, or, ooh, my friend just got here, I'm going to go over to the room that they're in. Maybe you communicate over Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or Discord or whatever it is you use to chat. You connect, you figure out your friend is also attending, you want to hop over and hang out with them for a bit and who they're talking to. We want to give that option. So we're going to check this box in most cases to let participants choose a room. So this is also new, I can rename these. So until very recently, literally like maybe a week ago, these were just called breakout room 1, 2, and 3, and we had to kind of keep straight in our heads, okay, room 1 has this panelist, and room 2 has that panelist, or whatever. You can come back to the main for certain conversations. We're going to make it so we can rename these. So we might say, lunch together. What are you making? Indiecade plans. Maybe you're trading notes about what you've been to, what you're going to, and so on. And so now we have each of our people are in different spaces where there might be different people having different conversations, different focuses. I can still, from my admin side, broadcast to everybody. This is where I might be like, cool talk starting, keynote, 15 minutes in Twitch channel. Boom. And they all see that message at the top of their screens. So for example, say we have an hour discussion of people want to chat about serious games, but serious games is a really broad field that includes educational games, use of non-educational games in educational context, training games, medical research, all kinds of stuff. Maybe we want to subdivide the topic so that the 3 to 5 want to have one conversation over here, the 2 to 3 want to have another conversation over there. And so that's where I might say, like I say, educational games, science, research, hangout, networking. Maybe we also recognize that even during a networking session, maybe you're just there to trade LinkedIn with each other and talk about other stuff. And, you're there because that's where the networking space is, but you're not really feeling that topic personally. Okay, so we create these rooms, and now each person has a choice. Where on their screen, they can say, Hangout Networking. Do you want to join Hangout Networking? Do you want to join Science Research? And so one user is going to go over to Science Research. Now, another thing that may happen is actually happening here while I'm recording this, is if you don't have the most recent version of Zoom on your computer, because this is a relatively recent addition to be able to assign yourself to breakout rooms, you may not see the option on your side to assign yourself a breakout room. So one, it's a good reason to update your version of Zoom. Also probably some good reasons for security stuff. But two, I can still, as the host, ask you. So if you're left behind in the main room, you're like, I haven't been assigned yet. Chris, can you send me to educational games? I can then send you over there. So game developer says, Chris, I want to be in Hangout Networking. Zoop. They click on join. Okay, so now we have some happy conversations going on. Science Research's alumni friend and premium pass having a conversation. Hangout Networking currently maybe is game developer over there, perhaps eating her lunch alone or something, hanging out in case someone else wants to pop in for networking, decides to leave breakout room, return to main session. Now, Premium Pass came back to the main chat and said, Chris, Science Research was cool. I also want to pick the brains and meet some people who are over in the educational games chat. Do you mind sending me over there? And if they don't have the latest version of Zoom, they can't assign themselves, but I can still send them over. And I'll be like, sure, Zoop, join. Premium Pass is now an educational games chat, separate from these other spaces. So they all still exist in the main one. Each one can still message me for help, invite host, and you'll see right here, I, as the sort of moderator in the central space, will receive a message. I can hop over into the space to help take care of any sort of concerns. We do have obviously a strong anti-harassment policy and so on. But if any assistance needed at any point, you can page me as your host, and I or another volunteer or moderator will be available to help out. So if it seems like a lot of information or seems kind of confusing, again, the upside is I'm going to be there to help. I've been using Zoom professionally for several organizations now for 7 years or so. Had a bit head start on the working online side of stuff. So I'll be there to answer questions. I'll be there to take care of it. Ultimately, what it's going to come down to is we're fostering conversations with your peers at varying levels of experiences and backgrounds and focuses based on some occasionally scheduled topics, but otherwise kind of free form, just hanging out, and perhaps even having a chat while also both locally streaming on Twitch, something going on as one of the talks, exchanging questions, trading notes, sharing links about stuff. That's the kind of thing we want to facilitate. So it's, again, at least as good, perhaps in some ways better, in addition to being more accessible, thanks to being fully online. But we want to make sure you're still networking, growing your network, meeting people, catching up with other people who hopefully you'll see in these hangout spaces, just like you might at a physical event, crossing ways with, gosh, I haven't seen them in years. We'd like to give you a chance to catch up, and this is part of how we're trying to facilitate that. So if you have any questions at all, I'll be there to help. More than anything else, I'll be the one mostly driving, so you don't have to worry about how do I switch between spaces. You just let me know who you want to talk to, how you want to get there, and whether it's a scheduled time or a open block during the hallway spaces, we will do so. And let me actually call everyone back here from the breakout rooms. They get a 1-minute warning. And here we are. So I want to thank you again for tuning in, for considering this, for taking part in the networking sessions. We want to make them valuable for everybody. Although this is not going on for every single day of Indiecade, it is going on for many of the days. You can double check the schedule. I believe it's going to be Friday to Friday. And we'll also have up on the schedule as soon as we possibly can. We've been ironing out which topic discussions are framed around which points of the schedule. And again, you come to those with your own questions, your own ideas, your own things you want to trade and experience with each other of what have you done? What questions have you run into? Has someone else come up with some other ideas? So there's some resources that they know. And also if those conversations deviate a bit off the topic, ultimately part of it is just about connecting with people who share your interests, who also are in board game design space, or who also are trying to figure out how to best position the games on the itch platform or other kind of things that indies today around the world are working on. So once again, this is Chris DeLeon, alumni lead for Indiecade. I want to thank you for watching. See you at Indiecade anywhere and everywhere.